China just gave birth to a sun, not the one 93 million miles away in space, a better one that burns 6 times hotter than the core of our own sun, and unlike the real sun, this one obeys China's commands. China built it, China controls it, and China just kept it burning for nearly 18 straight minutes, without stopping. 70 years. That is how long the greatest scientific minds across the United States, Europe, and Japan have been chasing this exact breakthrough. Trillions of dollars spent, thousands of careers dedicated, and China just walked into a lab in Hefei, switched it on, and did what none of them could. The energy source that makes oil fields worthless and coal plants ancient history is no longer a distant dream. It is burning right now. And the rest of the world has no idea how far behind they already are. If you're new here, hit like and subscribe because we cover China's most jaw-dropping breakthroughs before anyone else does. What you are about to hear is not hype. It is not an exaggeration. Every single number in this video comes directly from verified scientific announcements. And by the time this video ends, you are going to understand why what China just achieved may be the single most important scientific milestone of the entire 21st century. The machine is called EAST. That stands for Experimental Advanced Superconducting Tokamak. It sits inside the Institute of Plasma Physics at the Hefei Institutes of Physical Science, operated by the Chinese Academy of Sciences. From the outside, it looks like an oversized industrial drum, wrapped in pipes and cables and magnetic coils. Nothing about its appearance hints at what it is doing inside. But inside that machine, Chinese scientists are pulling off something that sounds like a line stolen from a Marvel movie. They are creating a miniature star and holding it captive inside a magnetic bottle. On January 20th of 2025, EAST ran a plasma operation for 1,066 seconds at a temperature exceeding 100 million degrees Celsius. 1,066 seconds. That is 17 minutes and 46 seconds of sustained artificial solar fire burning continuously without collapse. And that is a new world record by a margin so enormous it barely seems real. The previous world record for sustained high-temperature plasma was 403 seconds, which was also set by EAST back in 2023. So China didn't just inch past its own record. China nearly tripled it in a single experimental run. Now here is the number that should make your jaw drop completely. The surface of the sun, the blinding yellow star we orbit, sits at about 5,500 degrees Celsius. The core of the sun, where actual nuclear fusion naturally occurs, reaches around 15 million degrees Celsius. China's EAST reactor was burning at 100 million degrees Celsius. That is 6 times hotter than the core of our own sunday. And they didn't just hit that temperature for a flash and let it collapse. They held it stable, controlled, and burning for nearly 18 minutes straight inside a facility in a Chinese city. Let that sink in for a moment. The hottest natural furnace in our entire solar system is the sun's core, and China built something in a building that runs 6 times hotter than that. The sun has been burning for 4.5 billion years using the exact same fusion process China is now replicating on the ground. The difference is that China's version is controllable, scalable, and engineered to eventually generate electricity for billions of people. That is not science fiction. That is the laboratory in Hefei operating right now. But to fully understand why this achievement hits different, you need to understand what fusion actually is, and why the entire scientific world has been chasing it for 70 years without cracking it. Right now, every major economy on Earth generates most of its electricity through a process that has barely changed in over a century. Burn something, create heat, boil water, spin a turbine, make electricity. Coal plants do it, gas plants do it, Even many so-called clean energy systems still depend on backup burning. Traditional nuclear power is slightly different because it uses fission, splitting heavy uranium atoms apart to release energy. Fission works, but it produces radioactive waste so dangerous it needs to be stored safely for tens of thousands of years. And the history of fission power includes Chernobyl and Fukushima, two catastrophic accidents that permanently altered how governments and populations think about nuclear energy. Fusion is the opposite of fission in every meaningful way. Instead of splitting heavy atoms apart, you push light atoms together. Specifically, fusion involves taking hydrogen isotopes called deuterium and tritium, heating them to temperatures so extreme that electrons are stripped away from the nuclei, forming a fourth state of matter called plasma. Then you force those nuclei together with enough energy that they overcome their natural repulsion, fuse into helium, and release an extraordinary burst of energy. The combined mass of the resulting helium atom is slightly less than the mass of the two hydrogen nuclei that merged. That missing mass converts directly into energy according to Einstein's most famous equation, and the energy released per kilogram of fuel is almost incomprehensible. 1 kilogram of fusion fuel produces as much energy as 10 million kilograms of coal. 10 million to 1. The fuel source, deuterium, is extracted directly from ordinary seawater. It exists in effectively unlimited quantities across every ocean on Earth. The reaction produces zero carbon emissions. It generates no long-lived radioactive waste. It physically cannot cause a Chernobyl-style meltdown because the moment confinement is disrupted, the plasma instantly extinguishes itself. It is the cleanest, safest, most energy-dense power source ever conceived by human science. And for 70 years, it remained completely out of reach. The reason is temperature. To force hydrogen nuclei to fuse, you need to heat them to temperatures far beyond anything any physical material can survive. Plasma at 100 million degrees Celsius would instantly vaporize any metal, any ceramic, any substance that exists. You cannot build a container that touches it. So scientists invented a solution called a tokamak, a donut-shaped chamber that uses immensely powerful magnetic fields to suspend the superheated plasma in midair, keeping it away from the walls entirely. Yeast is a tokamak. Its superconducting magnetic coils generate fields strong enough to trap and hold a plasma that would otherwise consume everything around it in microseconds. The engineering challenge is on a completely different scale from anything else humanity has ever built. You are simultaneously running plasma at temperatures 6 times hotter than the sun's core, while the superconducting magnets confining it operate near absolute zero, the coldest temperature achievable in the universe. The temperature difference between the plasma inside and the magnetic coils just meters away is greater than the temperature difference between the sun's core and outer space. Both extremes are happening inside the same machine at the same time. Managing that without catastrophic failure for 17 continuous minutes is one of the greatest engineering feats in the history of science. For decades, the world's best plasma physicists could hold fusion-relevant plasma for single-digit seconds before instability tore the confinement apart. Then yeast broke 100 seconds in 2021. Then 400 seconds in 2023. Now 1,066 seconds in 2025. The progression looks exponential because it is exponential. And it is not slowing down. The heating system upgrade powering this latest record is worth examining specifically. The yeast team significantly upgraded the reactor's plasma heating systems before this run. The heating power pumped into the plasma is equivalent to tens of thousands of industrial-grade heating units operating in perfect coordination, all focused on maintaining a plasma ball that wants to collapse at every microsecond of every minute it burns. Then, on top of the duration record, East achieved full stability throughout the entire run with no disruptions. In fusion terms, a disruption-free run of that length at that temperature is as important as the duration itself. Stability at scale is the whole game. And just weeks into 2026, East made another announcement that stopped fusion researchers cold. Chinese scientists confirmed that East had breached a major plasma density barrier, keeping plasma stable at densities that physicists had long believed would inevitably cause confinement collapse. This was not just a performance record. This was a direct challenge to established plasma physics theory. East didn't just exceed a benchmark. It proved that a fundamental assumption about what fusion reactors can do was wrong. China is rewriting the textbook in real time. Now here is where the story shifts from extraordinary science to strategic world-changing ambition. China is not building East to admire it. East is step one on a deliberate, fully funded, government-backed roadmap to commercial fusion power. The next machine is already in planning. It is called BEST, the direct successor to East, and it is designed to achieve first plasma in 2027. Not 2035, not 2040, 2027. Less than 2 years from now, BEST will operate at higher plasma currents and longer durations than East, feeding the engineering data directly into China's ultimate fusion goal. That goal is CFETR, the China Fusion Engineering Test Reactor. CFETR is China's plan for a full-scale fusion power plant demonstrator. Construction is targeted to begin in the late 2020s. The reactor is projected to generate several hundred megawatts of fusion power through the 2030s, scaling toward 1 gigawatt of continuous clean electricity by the 2040s. China's published roadmap projects a commercial fusion power plant prototype by 2050, with mass deployment of fusion energy technology in the decades following. The roadmap is funded, it is staffed, and every milestone on it is backed by one of the world's largest science budgets. Now compare that to the rest of the world. ITER is the international fusion project being built in southern France. It involves 35 countries, including the United States, the European Union, Japan, South Korea, Russia, and China itself. ITER has been under construction since 2013. It has suffered repeated delays and ballooning costs now estimated at over 20 billion euros. Its revised timeline does not target first plasma until 2035. And ITER will not generate net electricity at all, because it is designed as a pure scientific demonstration, not a power plant. The scientific first plasma milestone alone will not arrive until a decade from now. China is currently holding every single major fusion performance record on the planet. It is actively running East experiments. It is building BEST for 2027. It has CFETR on deck for the late 2020s. The comparison between China's pace and the rest of the world's pace is not close. It is not even in the same category. There is a dimension to this story that goes far beyond clean energy and climate solutions. The fuel for fusion is deuterium from seawater. No oil field controls it. No cartel prices it. No pipeline routes it. No government can embargo it. The nation that masters fusion power first steps completely outside the entire geopolitical architecture of fossil fuel dependence that has shaped wars, alliances, and global power for over a century. It gains energy independence so complete that it becomes effectively immune to the resource leverage every major economy currently holds over every other. China clearly understands this. The urgency of its fusion program, the budget behind it, the consecutive records, the back-to-back announcements, none of that is accidental. Why? I've considered and leave de sitter dove daughters. East has also been a generous open research platform. Since beginning operations in 2006, it has welcomed scientists from over 100 institutions worldwide. The plasma data is shared. The physics findings are published. But the engineering upgrades, the superconducting magnet designs, the plasma control software, the heating system architecture, those belong to China. And every single lesson learned inside East is being directly engineered into BEST and CFETR right now. 2 decades of open science at the frontier of fusion physics, all feeding into a closed engineering pipeline that only China controls. Songyun Tao, the director of ASIP, put it plainly. He said that a fusion device must achieve stable operation at high efficiency for thousands of seconds to enable the self-sustaining circulation of plasma, essential for continuous power generation. Thousands of seconds is the target. East just crossed 1,000. The gap from 1,000 to the thousands required for commercial power is real, but it is measurable, and China is closing it faster than any competing program on Earth. The direction is clear. The momentum is undeniable. Think about the 20-year arc here. In 2006, East powered on for the first time and held plasma for fractions of a second. In 2021, it crossed 100 seconds. In 2023, it tripled that to 400 seconds. In 2025, it nearly tripled again to over 1,000 seconds. And now, in 2026, it has broken a plasma density limit that physicists considered a hard ceiling. Every step on this curve represents not a small improvement, but a paradigm shift in what the machine can sustain. If that trajectory continues, and China's investment suggests it will, the jump from 1,000 seconds to the sustained continuous operation needed for commercial power is not a question of whether. It is a question of when. The world right now runs on fire. We burn things to survive, to travel, to manufacture, to heat our homes and light our cities. Humanity has been burning things for energy since the first cave fire hundreds of thousands of years ago. Fusion would end that era permanently. No burning, no emissions, no depletion. Just clean energy extracted from the ocean in quantities large enough to power Earth's entire civilization for millions of years without interruption. And the country that delivers that technology, that licenses it, that builds and exports the reactors, that sets the standards and controls the intellectual property, that country does not just lead the 21st century, it defines it. It shapes the terms under which every other nation on Earth gains access to the energy source that replaces everything we currently use. China is not building a fusion reactor. China is building the foundation of an energy empire that could last for centuries. The artificial sun is burning right now. It is in Hefei. It has already burned hotter than our sun for longer than any machine in recorded history. And the team that built it is already assembling something bigger and more powerful, scheduled to fire up in less than 2 years. China didn't just shock the world. China lit a star inside it. And the light from that fire is going to reach every corner of the planet. If this blew your mind, hit like and subscribe so you never miss what comes next. Which part shocked you the most? The temperatures 6 times hotter than the sun, the fact that China nearly tripled its own world record in one shot, or that the next reactor is already launching in 2027? Tell us in the comments below. We read every single one. And if you want to see more of China's most insane technological breakthroughs, go check out our other videos on the channel.